What's everybody doing tonight? I'm just hanging out in the studio, listening back to some tracks, and working on some mixes out here. And I just thought I would come online and say hi. See everybody's doing. Just gonna check out my phone here and see if anybody's online with me. If that's the case, that's all good. A mix that we actually did a little while back. Buddy Richie joined us in the studio, and we were working on some original tunes. This is a song called All I Got, and we put the mix together. This is a live, actually off the floor recording. So I'm just working on mucking around with some of the levels, and I know Richie's talked about coming over and giving me a hand with this. Yeah, so that's rhythm guitar on that side. So yeah, that's what we've been working on, is some tracks in the studio, and I've got some stuff I wanted to talk about tonight. One of the things I was going to talk about was what's happening with some of our artists, and we've got a couple of new artists that actually joined the Indie Tunes label in the last few weeks. And the first one to join in the last few weeks was After Alice. They're from Jackson, South Carolina. And our friend Blake Pierce from Missouri. And Blake is a country artist, and After Alice is a rock, an alternative rock, prog rock band from Jackson, South Carolina. So that's kind of what we've been up to, aside from me acting silly and doing some of the stuff that I normally do in here, and imitating Ozzy. So a couple of things I want to talk about tonight is what some of these bands are doing. Now, an interesting thing that I found when I was starting to look at some of the stuff that's going on across the music scene, a lot of people are using Reverb Nation, a lot of people are using Bandcamp, some people are still using SoundCloud, and that's great. But one of the things about those is that if you do not have a premium membership, then of course you're giving your music away for free unless people are feeling so inclined to purchase it. So that's one of the downsides of using those services, unless you are joined to the premium services, in which case people are limited in terms of what they can listen to. And if they would like your tracks in entirety, of course they're going to be able to purchase them online. What we are doing for bands right now and indie artists is that we're posting music on over 160 internet download and streaming sites. That's pretty exciting stuff. And the great news is that within 24 to 48 hours of posting that music on those mediums, it's readily available to the public on all of the major download and streaming sources. So iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Spotify, Tidal, and there's a few others that are some of the main ones that people are using. Amazon Music being another one as well. So those are available on download and streaming sites, and typically things work out to about, it takes a lot of plays on a streaming service to be able to yield you any money. So about $1 for every 50 plays. That's right, $1 for every 50 plays. So it takes quite a few plays. So one of the things that we work hard at doing is doing search engine optimization so that traffic is driven to wherever your music is sold. So one of the things that's key for you as an artist is to have your own website. And I mean by your own website, an actual domain that you own. So a .com, .net, .biz, whatever domain you decide to purchase under. Now Anytunes, we put that under a .com domain, and I was very fortunate to get a .com domain for Anytunes, and I bought it for $5. That's right, $5. And now I renew it perpetually. Now the renewal fee, of course, is a lot more money to renew and own the domain, but that is key to being able to keep your website running and having a domain that you call your own. And then of course the next thing is to make sure that you have a web host. So I am using Wix as my web host, but the domain registrar is Network Solutions. And the reason why I chose Network Solutions is they're sort of worldwide, and they're accredited, and I don't have to worry about ever losing my domain. I have a perpetual renewal with Network Solutions, so that's a great thing to be able to have. So as a band or as an indie artist, you want to have a website that's dedicated to your work and where we can direct all the traffic back to it. So all of the links to all of your music are embedded in your website, and by driving people to your website, we're literally driving people to your music. Now that doesn't mean that people still can't find it on all those great sites, and that's another piece of the work that I do, and that is going behind the scenes and making sure that people can find your music. And it's also finding playlist curators across the internet to get them to place your music on their playlist. That is also key to people actually hearing your music and then subsequently being able to buy your music. So that's a great way for your music to be heard and for it to be played across the internet, is to have it on playlists that are curated, and those playlists often get sold to radio stations, some of them .com radio stations. So there's a couple of .com radio stations that have made a switch to their platform, and they actually are using your streaming music every time you get played on a .com radio station. So that's pretty cool, given that some .com radio stations might play you on their regular shows and then play you after hours on their servers. So that's pretty cool, because that means you're getting 24-hour play coverage on a .com radio station. Now there's about 800 or so that I'm aware of, and I am going one by one, connecting myself to those radio stations and those radio networks and securing airplay for any musicians that work with our label. And so that is a huge opportunity, especially if they are using a different platform which incorporates using one of your streaming services where your music is already uploaded to. So like iTunes, or if they're using Apple Music as a streaming source, then there's a great opportunity for you to earn on those streams as they're played on radio airplay. So some of them are moving to that platform. That's a pretty cool idea, rather than just playing your MP3s over and over again. And again, for some radio stations, because they're small, because they don't do advertising, they don't have budgets to be able to pay for the plays of your music, and henceforth you're not going to be making royalties off of those plays. Now the upside of that is that those radio stations are pushing your music out to the masses, and they're more than willing to redirect people back to your streaming sites where people can actually purchase the download of your music or stream your music. So that's pretty cool. In the background, this is Coaching for Sarah. They're from London, Ontario, Canada. They're another one of the artists that have joined the Anytunes label. I'm going to try and play a little bit of everything while I'm online here. I'm going to be online for about 30 to 45 minutes and talk a little bit about some of the stuff we do. And if you really like what I'm talking about here, please share it with your friends. If you know people that are interested in indie music, send them my way. I'd love to be their friend. I've got only 420 more friends before I reach the magic 5,000 people that I can be connected with through the Indie Tunes profile. Of course, through the like page, there are hundreds of thousands of possibilities, and I think we're around 1,640 followers on that page. So that's another way to stay connected with what we're doing. You can also go on Indie Tunes on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube page. That is going to start growing in the next little while. We've got some cool things going on there, and my goal is to post a video every couple of weeks up there, and sometimes going to be out in public shooting short videos of local indie artists while they're playing. I had the good fortune of being at the 488 Jam the other night. Was able to do some short videos of some friends performing there, and we posted one of their videos tonight or today up on YouTube. So you can check that out. Indie Tunes on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram. Probably right now connected directly to upwards of 50,000 people. And that's pretty cool on all of the different social media. And of course, when I post something, it usually hits all of the social media that I'm connected to. I do a little bit of work on Tumblr as well, but I'm most active on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as Twitter. So you can find us there. And again, it's all Indie Tunes, everywhere you can find us. And anywhere you can buy music, you can buy the music by the artists that are featured on Indie Tunes. So I've got a couple more artists that need to get uploaded onto our website, indietunes.com. You can find us there. And of course, we link everything back to all the artists' websites that we work with. Because again, it's not about us, it's about them, and it's about promoting their work. And a big part of the work that I do is behind the scenes stuff. So it's stuff you never even see. While I do some music production in the studio, that is not the main part of the work that I do. The majority of the work that I do is online promo and internet branding for bands. So that's getting their electronic press kits across the internet. That's getting pictures and videos of them out there, so that when you do Google searches and Bing searches and Yahoo searches for the band, you'll see photographs and images associated with the band. Some of the things that we're able to do now are posting lyrics to songs as well, so that if people want to download the lyrics to the songs so they can sing along with them, that's another thing as well that they can do. That's going to be part of the download opportunities that we're able to negotiate with a number of the download and streaming sites that we work with. Again, like I said, there's 160 of them, and that seems to be growing every day. There's more and more that are popping up and streaming and allowing people to download music. So watch for that. A ton of artists out there. There's like 750,000 registered artists just in the continental U.S. alone, and a smaller proportion of indie artists here in Canada, and of course a huge number of indie artists from around the world. We're going to be representing some indie artists who've already approached me from Portugal. And so that is going to be coming in the next little while. Most of the artists that we support currently are in Canada or the US, as far as British Columbia, and of course locally to me, about 20 minutes north of where I live in London, Ontario, Canada. So that's pretty cool. One of the things that is going to make us a little more unique over some of the smaller labels is that we are going to be omnipresent at the 2019 Juno Awards here in London, Ontario. So I'm pretty excited about that. Been working away at building a presence for that event coming up next year. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to make a switch currently right now and flip over to another artist on here. So bear with me. And it appears my, yeah, it is my okay, well, we're gonna go over here and we will see if we can play off another platform. Playing off Bandcamp right now. This is a band from Vancouver, BC called Darkstone. This is a song called Enough. I found these guys on YouTube, interestingly enough, and it was actually the video for this song, which was kind of cool. And they made a video for this. This song was recorded at Death Trend Studios in Southern California. And one of the executive producers on this album was Jeff Blue. If you recognize that name, you can Google him. Jeff has produced a number of professional acts from around the world. And they decided that their first EP would do well for them if they went and had it professionally produced. And they decided to produce it in Death Trend Studios. That was kind of a cool event for them, going down to Southern California to record. And I'm going to go back on Reverb Nation because it froze up. So I'm going to try and chat with you while I try and multitask here. Now, an interesting thing about Darkstone, they're another band that's done everything organically, which I think is pretty cool. So when I say organically, I mean every follower that they have are followers that they gain simply by interacting with people across social media and requesting that they follow them in some capacity on one of the mediums that their music and their presence is found. And these guys have really worked hard to do this over the last few years. They've got an awesome presence on places like Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. They've got a pretty decent following. I'm going to log on to Twitter right now. And we're about 3,300 followers on Twitter. And Twitter is a great place to interact with other people. That are connected to businesses or other artists that are out there trying to establish their brand on the internet. So it's a great place to interact with other people. And I have established I'm working on establishing a sort of a place where artists can sort of congregate and get to know one another and interact with one another. So it's called Indie Artists Unite, and it's the hashtag Indie Artists Unite. And if you go to that hashtag on Twitter, you will find a number of artists that I've tagged in Indie Artists Unite. So you can actually find these other artists, and they're indie artists from all over the world. So that's the cool thing about that, is that you have an opportunity to interact with other people that are doing exactly what you're doing, and maybe, you know, learn from each other, talk about what's working for you, what's not working for you. Those are some really great opportunities to do some online networking, and I'm a big fan of that. I'm just trying to log on to Twitter here, and I was just going to take a look. Yeah, so we're just sitting right at 3,300 followers right now on Twitter, and again, that's not. It's a good sized presence, but we probably have a bigger presence on Facebook of well over 5,000 people that are following what we're doing. Not everybody can see it, as you know. Facebook has those lovely algorithms that chokes everything down, so you can't ever see everything that's on there. And that is a reason why you need to stay social with other people. So typically Facebook is going to send everything to about 25 feeds of the people that you most commonly interact with on Facebook. The more people that you interact with and the more people that you create a social presence with, of course, the more opportunity you're going to have your feed shared out amongst other people. The other thing you can also be doing is those that follow you most closely is getting those people to repost your posts. And that's another way for more people to see it. So one person reposts your post, another person reposts it, and one of those people reposts it. So it just spreads out and has this huge domino effect. So that's one other opportunity. So I'm looking at Darkstone's profile on Twitter, and they have 15,000 plus followers right now on Twitter. So that's just an example of people out there doing organic work. So that was what impressed me about these guys, is that they were already out there doing organic work. So part of us teaming up together was about me helping them to expand their reach, about me helping them to do stuff they don't always have time to do. And that's sort of one of the things that I pitch to people when I talk to them about working with a small independent record label, is that A, we can provide you some pretty good coverage. We can do a lot of exclusive work for you that you're not going to get done by larger labels that are carrying a ton of artists. They only have so many people to go around, so you get less individualized attention. Not that you're not going to get any attention, but I pride myself on being able to give artists attention and staying in touch with them and interacting with them to try to make sure that we keep moving together in a unified direction, because to me that is sort of the goal, is that you're working with each other to develop a unified approach to everything that you do. So I'm going to play a song by After Alice. This is called 99 Gold. It's a single that they've got out. I think there's something like 11,000 views of the video that they put with it on YouTube. So you can go and check out After Alice on YouTube. They've way past the magic 100 subscribers on YouTube. I think they're 200 and change. Some great things about After Alice. So again, I talked about Darkstone and organic reach, and I think one of the really cool things about After Alice, and again, we kind of found each other. We connected on a number of bits of social media. I think Twitter was the first place where I started following their work. And then they started following me in return, and we exchanged a few things back and forth. I really liked their music and thought maybe, you know, there'd be a great way for us to work together so I could offer them some level of support. I have to tell you, these guys have done a terrific job of moving things forward. Steve Fennell is sort of the business voice behind the band. There's only two guys in the band, Steve Fennell and Jason Crowden. Jason does the vocals and guitars, and Steven is the drummer, and he does all their a lot of the behind the scenes work for them and online promo. So when I talked before about organic reach, these guys on Reverb Nation alone have an organic fan base of 75,000 plus fans that are following them on Reverb Nation, watching for new stuff coming out from them. Their videos have over 250,000 plays, and they have almost 500,000 song plays on Reverb Nation. So that's pretty cool. They're ranked #1 right now on Reverb Nation. So if you don't know them and you're an indie artist and you want to be inspired, and these guys still see themselves a long ways away from having made it, but they are two guys that have done everything organically and work together to gain their following. I think there's something like 30,000 plus followers on Facebook and 30,000 plus followers on Twitter. I haven't looked at their Instagram lately, but I know it's impressive as well. And I know that that is just due to their work of reaching out to people, interacting with people, following people, and I mean genuinely following people and having people genuinely follow them. That is a real key to being successful on social media. It's not just about getting people to follow you. It's about being engaged with those followers and those followers being engaged with you. Social media engagement is huge, and if you want to market your music and you want to appeal to the masses out there, then the only way that's going to happen is that you need to interact with them, as well as, you know, working with someone who's going to help you gain more reach. And that's literally what Indie Tunes does. That's one of the strengths of this small label, is that I spend hours upon hours of reaching out and getting music out to the masses on behalf of the artists that we work with. So you heard Darkstone, you heard Coaching for Sarah. We've got some rough cuts from our friends Moorab Underground from Elmer, Ontario. We've got some music from our friend Blake Pierce, who is a country artist, and he has some of his stuff out there now on iTunes, on Apple Music, and it is being mass marketed as we speak. And Blake is one of these really nice southern boys from Missouri, and he is a down-to-earth country guy. So, you know, I found him to be extremely genuine. And again, he's another guy who's interested in organic reach. Coaching for Sarah from London, Ontario. They're another band that's interested in organic reach. They also do a lot of community-based events, as does Moorab Underground, and they play a lot of times for free to support local charities. And so you'll see them doing that throughout the winter and summer months. I believe Coaching for Sarah has been involved in Project Freya, as well as our friends Moorab Underground. So I'll be watching for that. They post it all over, usually on Facebook, but I've seen it on other bits of social media as well. And they are interested in gaining an organic following. So you can find their music posted up on Reverb Nation. So check them out up on Reverb Nation if you want to listen to music. But if you want to buy and download and stream their music, you can find it on iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Pandora, on Tidal, and a plethora of other download and streaming sites, including Amazon Music. So check them out. Coaching for Sarah, or C4S. You'll find them on Facebook and on Instagram. You'll find them on Twitter. So check them out. Follow them. Check out what they're up to. They're working on a new album. I know that. They just re-released a 12-song album that was their debut album, and they just remastered it and released it. So we'll be uploading the remastered files, I believe, and I know that Shane is going to be sending the MP3s to upload for the band once they complete the next album. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then Moorab Underground has been in the studio for a couple of sessions now. We've been working on some tracks, and I was listening back to some of the instrument tracks tonight, and I'm quite impressed by some of them. And there's a little bit more work to do yet as we continue to layer those tracks together and get them ready for a finished product. Their goal is to release an album later this year. So one of the difficulties we all have is that we all have day jobs, and trying to line up schedules and get them into the studio here where we can spend valuable amounts of time getting their music together is always a bit of a challenge. So that can be one of those things where you go, yeah, I wish we just had just a few more hours to get together. And then there's some days too where, you know, after 2 or 3 hours, everybody's had enough, because you come in with a lot of energy and you burn a lot of energy pretty quickly, especially if you're doing take after take to try and get certain parts down the way everybody's hearing it in their head and the way everybody wants it to sound like when they get it down on a final mix. So that's extremely important to the musicians and to me, because if we're going to be producing music and we're going to be releasing music that we produce here in the studio, we want it to be of course of good quality, not only to be representative of the artist, but representative of the work that we can do here as well. There are some artists that I've actually sent out to other studios in the area, and you know what, this isn't about me trying to get everybody to record with me, because Darkstone does not record in the Indie Tunes studio, nor does Coaching for Sarah, nor does After Alice. They record in their areas where, well, After Alice would be on next to impossible because they live in South Carolina. But they already have a relationship established down there in the studio that they work with, and I'm not out to change those relationships at all. In fact, encourage those relationships, because if they've got good work relationships with a studio, then they're going to produce great work out of there. Darkstone produces some of their stuff themselves, and they outsource it to other studios to do mixing and mastering for them. Coaching for Sarah does everything themselves. They've got some friends that come in, I think, and help them produce their work. So I'm pretty impressed by the fact that everybody, to some degree, does some of their own production. Our friends Moorab Underground did work on their original demos that they have released up on SoundCloud right now. But our goal is to get something far more superior that we can produce and release under the Indie Tunes label, and then get it on all those great download and streaming sites for them. You're going to see some other stuff in coming days as well. Our friend Blake Pierce. Blake is a great guy who has produced a couple of songs already. He's produced another country song, Jesse and You, and that is a song written by another artist, a Canadian artist, who actually sent him the song, and Blake decided to record it on behalf of this gentleman. And he can talk about that if he's online, or he can post it here. Shameless plugs are always welcome on my stream, so hey, have at it. And what else? What else do I want to talk about? Submissions, music submissions. So that's always a very, very tedious task, because not all radio stations want everything the same. Some want things slightly different in their submissions. And then not every radio station will play your music without you making it a donation or paying to have music played. Now, first and foremost, I search for platforms that do not have a pay-to-play approach. One, I believe that indie musicians should be paid for the work that they do, and so I work hard to try and earn them money. And again, through all of the digital content. So that's all I handle for the bands is digital content. I do not handle hard copy like vinyl, like CDs, or that media. That media belongs to the bands. They can sell it off their web stores, on their websites if they like. They can sell it off their store on Facebook if they like to do that, or sell it at, some of them do great jobs selling them at their gigs when they're playing live. They take CDs with them and sell them to fans who come out to watch their live shows. And that is not a piece of revenue that is mine. That is theirs. They're the ones doing all that work. They deserve to get all of that money. What I'm talking about is strictly digital content. And so we pay 75 cents on every dollar earned back to the artist. I retain 25% for all of the work that I do, and that basically goes back and is reinvested here. It buys computer equipment, it buys more interface equipment, it buys me more recording stuff for the studio so that I can do better work for bands, better cameras. One of the things we're going to be working on here from the studio is multi-track live streaming, and I know that's going to be of interest to local musicians, is when they can actually come in the studio here and multi-track live stream. Not only will we be able to multi-track live stream, but we'll be able to multi-track record them live off the floor. They can either have a rough mix down of that session, or if they decide they like the rough mix down so much they would like a finished product, then we can negotiate a cost on that. It'll certainly not be astronomical, and it definitely will be you know, below market. And the reason for that being is that we are here to help you. We are not here to cripple you financially. The goal is to create a win-win situation and to create an incubation place for indie music. So if you have music and you can't afford to record your music, give us a ring. We'll try and figure something out where we can help you out. And I've been helping people out by, you know, if they have no budget to record, it's like, okay, come on and we'll do what we can to help you. I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, a professional engineer. But I've got a ton of music background and experience, and I'm getting better and better all the time at finding my way around the digital audio workstation that I work with and the audio interface equipment that I use. Right now I'm using a professional version of Reaper, and I'm using Focusrite hardware and a ton of plugins that help me do the work. I'm capable of doing MIDI work, so if you're a singular artist who wants to produce an album with other instrumentation on it, we can certainly do that. One of the easiest for us to produce here are acoustic acts. So, you know, a vocalist and acoustic guitar, or a vocalist who does play acoustic guitar. I've had session musicians who've offered to come in and help other musicians with their music, and if they come in and help out, then that would be negotiated out of my share of the returns on anything we sell for you online. So, in summary, basically, all of your digital content that I upload to the internet, wherever it goes, wherever it's streamed, wherever it's downloaded, 75 cents on every dollar earned goes back to you, the artist. Okay, and 25% of it gets retained by me for Indie Tunes, and that is to continue to invest in what we're doing here. And the goal long term is to turn this into a non-profit organization that is strictly geared towards helping indie artists to develop their music. So, you know what? If you have a friend that's a good sound engineer and they want to come in here and work with you in my studio, I'd be happy to have you here and they are quite more than welcome to work with me on this equipment to help you produce your work. So that's another option for you as well. I'm gonna play a couple more cuts from a couple more bands on here, and then I'm going to bid you adieu. And so I'm just gonna go to another site right now and log into another site. And I'm going to play something from a friend of ours, Blake Pierce. And again, I found Blake and I connected with each other on Facebook. That was the first place where we connected. And I thought that was pretty cool that we connected there. And I'm going to play, this is a song that he wrote and recorded. It's called Drink This Sunday Away. You can actually, there's a video that he produced for it himself on YouTube. And like I said, it's a very traditional country tune. But what impressed me about it was that it's got this real honest feel to it. And I had never considered carrying a country artist or working with a country artist, but I really like this guy. He's a down-to-earth dude. And we had an awesome conversation here about a week ago. We did a video chat via Facebook, and the video chats by Facebook are like pretty good. I was really surprised how good the video chat was. And Blake is posting regular videos on YouTube, which is making me very proud because he listens to what I tell him. He's up to 782 subscribers on YouTube. So his channel, or sorry, I am not on his channel. I stand corrected. I'm gonna see if I can find his channel, because I thought it was on his channel. Sorry, he's at 123 subscribers. So Blake has surpassed the magic 100. But just like I said, he is starting to post a number of videos on YouTube, and I challenged him to post a video a week on YouTube. This is called Drink This Sunday Away. Now that was well produced, and that was well recorded, and he's got a great country voice. Our friend Blake, and that's a little bit about what we're doing here in the studio. My buddy Brian's coming over tomorrow night. We're going to work on some tracks tomorrow night, and I'm pretty excited about that. We try to get together once a week. We get here in the studio and we jam and we work on music. This is a song, All I Got. Our friend Richie Yates did the drums on this. Yeah, it's a well done, and again, it came out pretty good. This was recorded straight off the floor. I'm still working on mixing it, doing some mixing on it, but I'm pretty pleased with how it's come out. Now it's just a matter of getting the mix down a little bit better. And bringing out the best of the drums, bringing out the best of the bass. Chad Archibald actually played the bass on this, so Chad, Richard, I know you were watching me tonight, so you should come over because we can work on these tracks as well, because some of them are really well done. I think there's some stuff that we can add to them. I think there's some stuff that we can work on within the tracks themselves and some enhancements that we can do to make these tracks sound well enough that we can probably release them, which I'm excited about. So, Richie, if you're watching tonight, Brian and I are going to be here in the studio tomorrow night. He's going to come over probably between 6 and 7 tomorrow night, so if you're around, stop by, my friend. And I'm going to open another project here. That's called All I Got, and that is on our project 42 North. And I'm opening up another project here right now, and I'm just trying to figure out which one that I want to open for you. It was an instrumental track that I was working on tonight for Moore Ave Underground, actually, and I was quite impressed with it. I'm just trying to think of which one it is. I'm not sure if this is it or not. I don't think so, but we'll see. Yeah. Nope. That was some stuff that we're working on. That was something that we were working on. It's called 6 Feet, but that is not the one that I was listening to earlier. So I'm going to see if I can locate it here. So bear with me a second. Maybe it's this one. Guys have more of a punk feel to their music, and I really love working with these guys because they got a lot of high energy, and their music is really fun to listen to, and it's fun to watch them work, and it's fun to do some stuff with them. I'm not sure, maybe. We've done a bunch of takes. We've done 2 days of recording with them. I got some really cool tracks that we were able to pull out of this, and we were looking at going back and doing some re-recording of all of this. But I've been trying to get together with Josh to get him in the studio so we can actually talk more about these tracks, because there's some really good stuff in these tracks, and I think that we need to give them a really good listen, because tonight I was listening back to some of them and it was like, oh yeah, so let's change this, let's change that, let's change the lead guitar to the left side versus the right side, move the rhythm guitar to the right side, and get a little more stereo separation with it. And it was like, oh, I think this is going to sound pretty good when it's all done and we get some vocals. All the vocals on these tracks, when we put them in, were rough mixed in, and they were only really in there to give everybody place and timing. Josh, of course, was a little under the weather when we did all this, so the vocals, he was working really hard to get the vocals to sound as good as he could. but I know he's not satisfied with those, and he's going to be coming back in, and we talked about him coming back in, just doing some vocals for some of these, just to see how much different they actually sound with you know, some polished vocals in them. So it's kind of looking forward to that. I think this might be one we were working on. That's a song called Red, and that is just a rough mix from the first few bars of the song. And I don't want to give a whole lot of this stuff away, but I think it has really good potential, and I wanted to talk to Joss about those tracks because I think they're gonna be very good tracks for us to work with. So again, I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining me here. Come back and watch us tomorrow night. We're going to live stream here from the studio. We're going to be working on some tracks on some of our songs, maybe playing a little bit live, and I'm hoping that I can convince my friends to come in here and live stream. I know we've been talking about Morav Underground coming back here in the studio and doing a live stream show, and so I am hoping that they will come back here and do a live stream. I know I've been trying to convince Shane to get the guys from Coaching for Sarah to come here in the studio, and a few others from the local area. We talked about that as well. And my friends Stephanie Lynn and Jordan Brasal, I hope they be willing to come into the studio. We've been talking about doing an album of cover tunes because they've got some killer covers that they do, and they've got some really great arrangements for them. It's all done on acoustic guitar and just the two of them, and they sound so sweet together, and they are a very sweet couple. So anyway, that's it for tonight. Thanks for joining me. We'll catch you all later.